code in Collab. Okay, so as I already told, so why we chose Collab? Okay, because it is provided by Google and it is a cloud environment. Okay, so where Google provide with you extra RAM and extra disk. Okay, like for example, if your computer is like 2 GB RAM or 4 GB RAM, then it is very tough for you to download Jupyter or Spider to use that to train model and all that. Okay, for any kind of training of model, we need at least uh, 8 GB RAM. Okay, and i5 generation. Okay, so if may still, but whoever have i5 generation still face some problem of loading model. Okay, so that's why we using Collab. So like for example, this is the interface, and if you see, I press connected, so they will provide me a RAM and disk. Now it's initialize. Now you can also name your file, like, okay, so we're going to start with Python fundamentals today, and in next day we're going to end with Python with object oriented programming. Then we'll start with NumPy. Okay, so so see, they already provide with you uh, extra RAM like 12 GB RAM and disk size of 107 GB. So as you already know, that is 12 GB is pretty good. If you provide, if you go with the paid plan of Collab, and which is only cost 13 rupees 30 rupees per month. Okay, so that going to provide with you 16 GB RAM or 22 GB RAM. And if you know that most of the industry also use Google Colab for developing and analyzing the data. Okay, because it's much easier to share also and to accessible for any kind of practice. Okay, because it is very fast. So I think so like, if to access the variable, we use simple name of the variable and simple put a value. Okay, for example, I can also give shorter name like a. Now instead of simple writing print a, we can also go with like for example, if I run it, then it will print 24. Okay, but instead of printing, we can also directly write a, because in Collab you don't have to write print function. Instead of you directly write the variable name, it will go into automatically print it. Okay, see, this have the same functionalities. Okay, so there are integers, string and float type. Okay, so for string and character, same thing is there to in double inverted comma, right? For example, if you want to write a string, like for example, b is equals to like name. Okay, and b, and it's going to print the name. Okay, so for in Collab, if you there is two option. Okay, if you touch the in the line, there is going to give you two options like text and code. Okay, if you press text, you can write several instruction and what you are going to do, the chapter name, or the information which might help in the other developer to go through with your code. Okay, so for example, string. So now it in right hand side, it going to show you what is the output. Okay, so if you want to make it bolder, you can press this bolder. If you want to make more bolder, you can add more stars. Okay, okay, so this is going to be, you can also make styling with the, this is the font page font, and this you can also add links, images, and you can also make lines. Okay, for comment, so if you want to write comment in the Python, you can use like string. Okay, like example, we're going to see array. Okay, like array. See, Python doesn't have any concept of array. Okay, so it only has concept of list. There is three type of list is there, like example, list, tuple, and set. Okay, so if you want to see list is simple. Like for example, list, in list you can put different type of data types in a single list. Okay, for example, you can put integer type, string type, and character type in a same line. Okay, not like any kind of C++ or Java. Okay, that you have to put only like in array. What happens in array, you have to put same type of elements. Like if you want to put integer, then all the elements should be in integer, right? So you can put 2 with a simple name, another with 3, 4. Okay, so if you want to print simple error, then you can print. Okay, so if you want to see tuples, simple, instead of square bracket, you only put the first bracket. Inside that you can put the elements. Okay, if you want to print simple. Okay, this is the array. Okay, so now what is the set? Okay, there is a curly bracket. Okay, inside the curly bracket you can put the same type of data. Okay, now if I want to print, now we're going to see for if else. Okay, okay, before dictionary we can if we put array, we should look at the dictionary. Okay, for example, array, like student. Okay, like for example, name. So like example, in what we are doing in the simple, like b is equals to name. Like for example, I want to write our student name. Okay, like for name is equals to ready. Okay, now age we can put like this one. We have to write individually, right? So what we can do, to if you work with database, you will able to see that that is also in a format stage. Okay, so that's why we use mainly object, dictionary, and so now what we can do, the student one, in student one we can put like name, like okay, you can put like integer, all type of data. Okay, for example, course. Okay, simple. So see, like student one, we can also simple copy it, and we can make another like student 2. for example 1 instead of 23 instead of something. Okay, so how to access the dictionary? Okay, how to print? So to print, like example, simple print. If you print like student only, see what comes. See, it going to provide with you with all the information in the inside the student bound. Okay, now what if we want to access the specific information, like want to print simple the name. Okay, not the like a name is to d. Okay, we want to simple like should be print d only. Okay, how we going to do? Simple print, for example student 1, and instead we can simple write name. So when we going to see, now it printing the only the value instead of writing the full line. Okay, so to know the what is the length, like for example in array there is a length, right? Like the length of this array is 3. Okay, so 1, 2 and 3. So how to know the length, right? To sorry, to know the length we simply use len function. Okay, for example len, inside the len you can put simple student 1. Okay, see, so 3, like for example 1, 2 and 3, right? So now what about the type? Okay, is this array type? What is the integer type? What is the type of this this whole thing? Okay, so for example if you want to know the type, simple like len, we're going to put simple student 1. Okay, see, so this is the type. So it's telling dict for the shorter form of the dictionary. Okay, okay, so instead of writing this we can also make the shorter form. Okay, for example like variable name, like for example dictionary of student. Okay, student, for example I have given a name of any kind of name you can put. Okay, no problem. So instead of writing this equal to and whole of this in bracket, you can also write in simple line, like example simple dictionary, like for example dict, so dict and simple bracket, and inside the bracket you can put the like name, like for example this is simple the same way writing. Okay, for example age equals to 21. Okay, so let's say, see, instead of the comma, instead of student equals to third curly bracket, then name inside the comma, then is to, then ray. Instead of writing this you can also write like this. Okay, so you can use both way. So now if I print, for example, if instead of printing, simple copying and pasting. Okay, so see, so now we want to know if else. Okay, so example, for example, a is equals to okay, to uh, so to take the input you can write like a is equals to input, like for example name set a. Okay, so if I run it, so see, okay, so how you take the input. Okay, simple input inside that, okay, name. So for example, if I want to like for example I like to add, so before else's we can see the mathematical operation. Okay, so mathematical operation, so example, if I want to take input of two different number and then sum the number. Okay, so if I write entered the first number and then insert the b, I'm going to write okay. Can you guys tell me one thing? If I take like for example, if I take 2 and if I take 3 here, what will be the output? Can you tell me?
5. 23.
Yes,
2 3.
23, 23. Yes, 2 3, because it will take as string instead of number. Okay, yes, instead of number, because if you can also try, Suraj. So see, if I take 2 and 3, see, it will come 23. So how to get 5 instead of 23? Simple, we're going to use simple int. Okay, here. So what will it do? When we take the input, it will automatically convert the into integer. Okay, see, now we're going to take the same thing input, like for example 2 and 3, like 5. Okay, so you can also convert into float, like float. Okay, whatever you want. Okay, so that's how you're going to, you can convert the string to integer, integer to string. Okay, so if you want to know the mathematical operation, like for example there is a minus, there is a for division we use slash, and for finding the remainder of the division we use mm, percentage symbol, and for into we use star, and for to the power. Okay, for example if I want to take a, like for example if I take 2 is to 4. Okay, 2 to the power 4 means 2 into 2 into, okay, if you want to take 2 to the power 4, for example, if we can use double star. Okay, so what will happen, like for example if I take 2 and 4, see, it will give 16. Okay, so this is for to the power. Okay, and let's see what is a boolean. Okay, boolean operator. So for example a is 2 3 and b is 3. Okay, So print a is equal to b. Okay, so if I print it, see, it is true, because 3 is equal, a is also 3, b is also 3, so equal to 3. If I tell is 4, then it will see print true false. Okay, so this is the boolean operator. Okay, boolean operator is about true and false, okay. Okay, so now if you want to know the symbols, okay, for example, if I write the symbols, like for example, for like equal to, okay, like logical operators, like for example equal to, oh, okay, let's example, okay, like for example if else, okay, for example a is equals to 2, okay, and b is equals to 5. So example, if b is equal to a, then instead of, like for example, when in C++ we use this, in Python we use simply is 2, okay. Then like for example print, okay, equal. So when we print, like for example, and there is another operator, that is else, okay, else print nothing. Okay, Suraj, what do you think, what will be printed? Now tell me.
Sorry, sir.
What do you think, when I run the code, what will be the output?
See, the code says if B is equal to A, print equal, and if else, print nothing. So I think it will print nothing as B and A are not equal.
Yes, so nothing. So for example, in between if and else there is also a if else. Okay, for example, if we want to add another condition between the thing, okay, for example, same output, same number, okay, a is equals to 2 and b equals to 4. Okay, for example, like for example b is equals to a, same thing will happen, like for example print equal. Okay, now there is a between thing, that is if. Okay, that is else if, in shorter form of else if, means, so in if there is a condition, there is else if there is a condition, there is in else there is no such condition. Okay, so after if, whatever we write another, if we want to write another condition, we use else if. Okay, that is else if, like for example b is, okay, greater than equal to a, so print, so what do you think, what will be printed when I run the code? What will be the output? Can you tell me?
Greater B.
Greater B.
Yes. What do you think, Suraj? What will be the output?
Greater B.
Yes. So this is the greater equal to. Okay. Uh, So B is greater or equal to A. Okay. So there is such symbol. Let me tell you all the symbols. Okay. So there is also a, like for example, let me tell you the symbols. So there is greater than equal to, okay, first is greater or less, then there is a less than equal to, okay, or greater than equal to, and there is not equal to b, okay. So there is a not equal to, okay, and কি আছে আর কি আছে? Okay, another is equal to, okay. So what I have used in this, okay, for example, so you can use this things to apply in the condition, you can see the result, okay. For example, if I tell that is b is equals to not equals to a, now what do you think, what will the output?
Nothing.
Acha, nothing, okay. What Suraj, what do you think, what will be the output?
Just it's greater B
Yes, it
as
is
B is
greater b.
not equal to A.
Yes, yes. So let me use another thing, that is, now what do you think, what will be the output?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
Right. So okay, so these symbols are clear. So let's go to the next, okay. So next, else if then for loop, okay. So in for loop, you can we can write in two types, okay. Like for example, mm, mm, so for example, if I put a element like for array or anything, like for example 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay. So we have created a list, okay, a integer type list. Now, so to in C++, what do? We write I, for example, we can also use in here, like for example, for I is equals to 0 I greater than equal to len array, okay. Now do and I plus plus, okay. And now we're going to print array I. So let's see what we're going to print. For example, if I want to print a array, instead of writing like this, what we will do? So for example, we can do one thing. For example, array 0. See, Can you tell me one thing? Why it gave me error in previous? Okay, can you tell me why? Can anybody tell me why it gave me error when I ran for the first time? What was the error? Suraj, can you tell me why it gave me the error? Hello, Anubhav, Aniruddha, Aniruddha. So because in collab, what happens, because when I write when I run the thing, okay, so it take the array as a string set, okay. So if I run this code right now, it will give me a error, okay. See, because it has updated the ARR has been updated as set, okay, this set. So if you want to write those this is totally a wrong structure, right, a wrong syntax. So that's why it was updated, because as updated as a string, that's why it give me error, okay. Now when I again updating the ARR as the array, now if I run the ARR, now it's give me the 2, okay. Did you understand, Suraj and all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now instead of writing like this, we can simply write simple, like for example for,
I in range.
yes, range you can use. Another thing we can use simple in simple for x in,
X in array.
yes, simple, okay, simple. You can write as in bracket also, no problem. I don't know why it was giving me a warning of yellow line. Okay, you can do one thing, a simple thing. Like for example, if I write print simple x, then it's going to print all the x element. Okay. See in array. Okay, sorry. Example array. So see. Okay. Now all the printed. Okay. So another we can do, like for example, if I want to print the, like for example, if I want to print mm, for example for loop, like for example for, if I want to print from 3 to 6, okay, how can I print it? Okay, so for example x
Slicing.
in range, yes, range, what, range from from 1 comma to, what is the length, like for example 0 1 2 3 4 5 5, okay. So we're going to write 5. Now when I print x, see what are you going to print me, see, okay, what has happened, okay, sorry, for example x in range, I have, sorry for my mistake, that is I have given the range from 1 is to 5, that's why it is giving me the error, give me the from 1 to
So you
5.
need to do array X.
Yes, 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 I know. So this is the range, okay. Now if you want to print, like for example in array also, like for example in, like for example this array, so you can also use simple array, mm, simple use, I think it is possible. So in the in a numpy, I think it's possible, like for example if you want to print, like for example is to 7. Okay, so if I want to print this uh, print print simple this, so it will give me a split. So this is splitting. Okay, so this is splitting. See, 2 and comma 5 with 7. If I give 5 4, so you will see the last element not going to print. For example, 2 is the 0th element, 3 is the second element, right? 4 is the third element, and 5 is the fourth element. But if you sorry, 0 1 2 3 and fourth element is a 6. But if you know, if you notice that sixth element didn't print it. Okay, because in the range also, in this format array also, it doesn't take the last element in the consideration. Okay, if you write 4, it will print still 3. If you print 5, it will print till 4. Okay, so for example, if you want to print from backward, okay, what you will do? Can you tell me how, if you want to, if I think everybody knows Python, but still I started with basic Python so that everybody goes with along. So can you tell me, anybody, how can I print from backward if I want to print from 8 to 2?
Reverse indexing, use minus sign.
And
Yes, yes,
plus colon colon -1.
yes. See what happens. Okay, so for example, sorry. Okay, so from this backward. Okay, and now the last thing we want to know, the while loop. Okay, can anybody tell me what is the difference between while loop and for loop? I think there is no such difference, but
In for loop,
hmm, I think everybody is engineering students, so I want to know not the basic thing, that
hello.
what is yes. Tell me, Suraj.
In for loop, we know when to end, but in while loop, we give it a condition. Until it's not reached, it runs the loop.
Yes. Can you tell me what is the use case when we use? Can you give me the scenario where we
In
use
for loop,
while
like
loop?
we currently know what's the length of array,
Yes.
but when in while loop when we don't know what's the length of array, or when we want to do dynamic programming, we need to use while loop.
Yes. Yes.
Or like if in like binary search, we do that.
Yes. Yes. If you build a game in JavaScript also, you will still like, for example, if you want to run the game again, like for it's ended and you want to run again, the some process continuously. Okay, like for example recursion also you can use, and also that time also we use while loop. Okay, if you try to build games with JavaScript, that time in most of the cases, yes, dynamic program also use while loop. Okay, so let's see the syntax. Okay, so for example, in for loop we are using simple. In while loop we use, for example, 1 equals to I. First we referred I as a 1, and then we write while loop, for example, greater than 0. Okay, simple, and print. This is the simple C++ JavaScript Java type of form, okay, of the while loop. But we can do one thing also, like for infinite while loop. Let's see this I, and then simple the condition. Okay, that is sorry, the incrementation 1. So this is the condition. Okay, so this is the condition, and then we printing the variable, then we incrementing the I. Okay, So greater than 0, we can do one thing, like for example 6 or 7. Then I will 1 and 7, it will print till 7. Okay, so we can do another thing, that is for example like for example e is equals to 7, and while a, for example i I is equals to 1, and till y is not equals to, sorry, I is not equals to, not equals to a. So print I okay, can you tell me what will the output?
Sir, 7 because you have used A instead of I.
It will be an infinite loop.
See, 7 times 7s. Okay, see, so it will this is the true and false, like for example I till I is not equals to a. So instead of that also we can in recursion okay, we will see at the implementation when we will, okay, no problem. So this is the while loop. Okay, so this is the while loop and this is the for loop. Okay, and let me function. Okay, function. So in function, we to create a function we use def. Okay, so def and then def, then function name. Okay, then we can give the parameter. Okay, for example like for example print hello. Okay, sorry, now we need to call the function name. Okay, to print the thing. Okay, principle see hello. If instead of print, if we used like for example function, if we used return turn, then how should we print it? In simple, we have to use print function, then inside that we use function. Okay, to print it. Okay, so now if we want to pass the parameter, like for example a is equals to, for example we use def function, then like for example sum. Okay, a and comma b. Okay, so now print or simple return a plus b. Okay, now we can take like for example x equals to the 4 in 1 num1 num1 equals to input. First we have to take integer, then input number, and then num2, then we use integer, then input like for example second number. We can simply write, that is print function, in sum we are going to pass the parameter. Okay, like for example num1 and num2. Okay, like for example 3 and 5. Okay, so what we are doing, simply passing the parameter. Okay, for example inside the a that will be num1 and inside the b that will be num2. Okay, so this is the function. Okay, so to next class we're going to start with oops concept. Okay, and then we're going to start with numpy and then on. Okay, okay, any question, any? Okay, I think everybody know Python, so we start with the basic only. Suraj, did you understand what I taught? Okay,
Yes, sir, completely.
okay. So in this session we're going to start with like basic Python, then we're going to learn about the numpy, then panda, then sklearn, and sorry, before sklearn there will be matplot, then sklearn, and then keras and tensorflow. Okay, so after that there will be the project. Okay, so thank you guys, and if you have any question you can ask. Okay.